If you're curious about astrology, you're in the right place. Between Dimensions is here to guide you. Today, we'll explore the 5 major astrological aspects: conjunction, sextile, trine, square, and opposition. Get ready to unlock the secrets of your cosmic blueprint. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hi, and welcome to Between Dimensions. I'm Monica Gonzalez, an astrologer and spiritual advisor, and today we're going to be talking about the planetary aspects. In my last video, I broke down the basics of astrology. I defined the houses, the constellations or the zodiac signs, and the planetary transit energies. But that barely scratched the surface of astrology. So this video is going to be talking about the positions of the celestial objects in the sky and how they relate to each other. And those are called aspects. So generally at this point, I jump into a sound clearing, but that's not being recorded by my microphone for some reason. If you watch my last video, there was dead silence. So I'm going to skip that and go straight to sharing my screen to look at today's transit chart. Here we go. Today's transit chart, December 10th, 2024 at 12:28 p.m. We have the sun in Sagittarius. And I thought as the beginning of this video, we could just do a quick overview of the planets, the houses as a summary to the last video, and then we'll jump into the aspects. So real fast. We've got the 12 houses. The first house is the house of the self. Second house, the house of finances. Third house, the house of communication. Fourth house, the house of home. Fifth house, the house of creativity and dating, romance. Sixth house, the house of health, fitness, and routine. Seventh house is the house of partnerships, romantic partnerships, and business partnerships. Eighth house, the house of sex. Ninth house, the house of travel and higher education. 10th house is the house of career. 11th house is the house of friendship. And 12th house is the house of the subconscious, karma, and spirituality. Real fast, we'll go super quick through the planets as a basis to go in and speak about these aspects. The sun is the celestial object of the self. We have Mercury, the planet of communication. We have Pluto, the planet of power, rebirth, and transformation. Venus, the planet of love. Saturn, the planet of discipline. Neptune is all about intuition, psychic abilities, and dreams. The moon is a celestial object of emotion. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, change, and it's a disruptor. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, luck, and generosity. Mars is a planet of courage, bravery, assertiveness, action. And that brings us to the aspects. So that was a little quick overview, just to get us like acquainted with our astrology signs and symbols and houses. The aspects are the positions of the celestial objects in the sky and how they relate to each other. There are 5 main aspects that most people look at, and then there's a couple more. But we're just going to go over the 5 right now because, again, I don't want to make this a 20-hour video, even though it easily can. Astrology goes so deep, you don't even know. But the 5 main aspects are conjunction, sextile, trine, square, and opposition. 3 of those are positive aspects, and 3 of those are a little bit more challenging. Conjunction, sextile, and trine are the positive aspects, while square and opposition are challenging aspects. So the conjunction. Conjunction is when 2 planets are so close to each other, they are within, some astrologers like to look within 5 degrees of each other. Other astrologers are open to looking within 9 degrees. And as I mentioned in my last video, each constellation is broken into 30 degrees. So that's where the degrees come from. So the only conjunction we have in this chart is right here in the 11th house of friendship between Pluto and Venus. And as you can see here, there's degrees associated to it. So Pluto is at 0 degrees Aquarius and Venus is at 3 degrees. So that is a conjunction because they're within 5 or within 9 degrees of each other. And that energy is basically like when two celestial objects are like on top of each other, they just magnify each other and amplify those energies. So Pluto being the planet of power and Venus being the planet of love, you're looking at powerful love, intense love, right? Um, well, just since we're talking about it, might as well go through it right now. We're looking at where are you? Venus conjunct Pluto is going to create this sense of wanting a deeper, more intense level of a relationship. You're going to be wielding greater power of attraction. So if you're single, guys, this is a great time to go out and date because we've got Pluto conjuncting Venus, and you're going to feel more attractive and more magnetic than usual. You're going to um, possibly have very intense sexual experiences. Yes, because these two powers are just like, it's like woof, it's like wham, it's like intense love, right? However, with every energy we have, there is sometimes a point in which we go a little too far. So it's important to remember that in this conjunction period, we cannot use manipulation or any negative aspects of this to create possessiveness or jealousy. So with this intensity of, Pluto and Venus, there's possibility that you could be stumbling into feelings of possessiveness and jealousy. And if left unchecked, then you could even go into like a cycle of stalking or spying. And so I'm here to just warn you, whether you're single or in a relationship, like with this energy in our skies right now. If you're thinking about doing something that you shouldn't be thinking about, please remember, don't do it. Don't do it. That's it. Um, because if you do, this Plutonian energy of transformation could lead to severe repercussions. And we don't want any breakups or anything. It's Christmas. Let's keep it light and love and intense and fun, right? Okay. So that's a conjunction. We're talking about two planets that are just like, or two celestial objects that are coming together and really bringing those two energies to full force, right? Okay. Next aspect is sextile. Sextile, kind of like, two people joining together. It is a collaborative energy. It's not as intense as a conjunction, but it's like two energies coming together and working collaboratively to bring out the best in everything and everyone. And this is found through it's when the celestial objects are 60 degrees from each other. So in this chart, we have a few sextiles that we can talk about. We're looking at Uranus and sextile Neptune. So we have Uranus down here in the house of finance, as mentioned earlier, and the sextile is this blue line right here with the star symbol. And here's Neptune. So if you guys can see my little cursor here, this is how this aspect is indicating. And this is 60 degrees from each other. You can also look, most of these charts will give you aspects in a chart form. Sometimes it's in this grid form. If you look over here, you can look at it at this grid form. I personally like just a straight linear chart breaking down the aspects. So since it's a sextile, this is down here where we have Uranus, sextile Neptune. And basically, what A sextile is, as I mentioned, is this collaborative, positive aspect between the two planets, kind of playing off of each other. And you can expect with Neptune being that planet of psychic abilities, intuition, empathy, and then you have Uranus, the planet of change and transformation. Well, um, the collaboration between these two things actually can spur on, and what we're seeing energetically through the masses is a spiritual awakening. So if you follow the esoteric or the occult or astrology, numerology, tarot, psychic, psychics, channelers, you've basically heard every single person come out and talk about how we're going through a spiritual awakening. And that is what this sextile is an indication of, because this is a moment where you're going to become more concerned about the future of humanity. You're going to wish to better understand how you, as an individual, connect to others on a mass consciousness level. So, like, our consciousness as an individual taps into the greater consciousness of humanity, and ideas will be stirring within you of like how you can tap into that and how you're really just one part of the bigger whole. So you're going to be thinking a lot about like the world, um, spirituality, and community and coming together. It's also common during this transit to become very involved in the occult, metaphysical, environmental, and humanitarian groups. So, I mean, just that you're watching this video shows that you are interested in these lost studies of celestial movements and these ancient philosophies that were prevalent back in the day, and now we're all coming back to it because we're realizing that there's really more to this universe than just science, than just the material world, and again, if you've been following what's going on in metaphysical terms, a lot of people have been talking about this shift from the 3D to the 5D. And so the 3D is all about the material world, the mundane. It's where science lies, which is wonderful and great. And we need to know those things. But the 5D is more about understanding the energies between humans and objects and all beings across this planet. This is an excellent time to create. So it's if you are a creative person or not a creative person, it's a really great time to pick up a hobby, draw, sculpt, paint, make a YouTube video, whatever it is that calls you from create to be creative. Like it's a really auspicious time to do that. And you are going to have a greater sense of oneness with others and the universe. So it's a beautiful, like this sextile is just a beautiful coming together of these two energies. We also have, in addition to that, Neptune sextile Pluto. And you could see that here. Here's Neptune in the first house. And here's another sextile, this blue line with star, not Pluto. And it's very similar energies. Like we got dreamy Neptune with powerful Pluto and transformation. So you can expect you're going to be inspired by the truth and human potential. You're going to tap into the massive consciousness, how I mentioned. Humanity is undergoing an evolutionary leap forced by powerful change. So again, it's this transition from 3D, it's the shift, the great shift between 3D consciousness and 5D consciousness. And this energy is ultimately going to bring people closer together, and not in the physical, but in a spiritual sense. So, um, wonderful aspects, wonderful energy that's surrounding us. Unfortunately, I will get to some more challenging energies because, you know, can't have the light without the darkness. So, but before we get there, let's talk about trines. Trine is a triangle. It's displayed as the symbol of a triangle. It is the power of three. It is a very balance energy. So if you think about like how our government was constructed, having three branches of government so that not one branch can rule the others, it's that balance that this energy brings. So it's, two celestial objects balancing each other. Um, and we can see here we have Pluto trining Mars. I'm sorry, Mercury trining Mars by this blue line here with the triangle on the side of it. We also have the Sun trining the Moon. So we'll quickly actually go through. The Sun trining the Moon is an energy of balanced emotions. So we're going to find that in our private lives, we're going to feel pretty calm right now, pretty calm, serene, um, just a real easy flow of energy. So, and I really hope and pray that that's exactly what all of you guys are experiencing right now. I mean, I know my home life is pretty calm and serene right now, and I hope that's what everyone else is feeling with this energy raining down on us. So we have Mercury trine Mars, as I mentioned, and that with Mars being the planet of action and Mercury being the planet of communication, when they're trying each other, you're going to actually feel like you have a lot of mental energy. You're going to feel super productive, which is wonderful. You're going to notice that you're quick thinking. You are going to inhibit ingenuity, decisiveness, and even to the point where you might want to take some calculated risks because you're feeling um, really focused, like focused and then brave because Mars is also like the planet of courage. So you have this beautiful energy of communication and action and courage all coming together. And that's going to make it a really good time for studying. It's going to be a really good time for making any sort of plans for the future, setting goals, budgeting. Really great for going through your like finances and what they call balancing the books, but like basically just checking that all your finances are in place. Like those tasks are going to feel a little easier than they normally do because of this energy. It's also a really good time because of the Mercury energy, a good time for public speaking, debating, sharing your thoughts. So again, if you are feeling creative and you want to do a YouTube video, good time to do it because hey, it's about sharing your thoughts and being courageous right now. Okay, now we're getting into a little bit of the challenging aspects. Oh, and I'm sorry, I messed up. A trine is, as you can see here with the Mercury Mars trine, this is a 120-degree difference between the planetary positions. Okay, now let's talk about squares. Squares is called a square because the two celestial objects are 90 degrees away from each other, similar to the angles of a square are 90 degrees to each other. And you can imagine when something's 90 degrees to another thing, like they're not really in line, you know? They're not in line with each other. So there's a tension that's created there. There's a challenge that's created there. Um, where we can experience struggle. But the good news is that is where that's the birthplace of growth. You can't grow without struggle. So we want to look at squares as opportunities to grow. So in this chart, we have Mercury square Saturn. So you could see here Mercury, it's in the square is indicated by this red line with the square in it, Saturn. And Mercury square Saturn energy is you're going to want to pay attention to details because Mercury is the planet of communication, and then we have Saturn, which is the planet of discipline, and we have this tension in between the two. So it's almost as if our communication is going to struggle and our discipline is going to struggle. So we want to definitely pay attention to details because we might, with this tension energy, this friction, um, we may not be as clear as we're supposed to be. We may not be as detailed as we're supposed to be. We may not be as disciplined as we normally are because they're in a square to each other or angled away from each other. This is not the time to make really important decisions or negotiations. I know, and this is why astrology is so interesting because we also have the Mercury trine Mars, where I just said, it's a really great time to take calculated risks. But at the same time, it better be well researched because you have this opposing energy of Mercury square Saturn, where it's also saying like just double check your work. That's basically what I'm saying. Double check your work, make sure you've got everything ticked and tied. If you have to make important decisions at this time, you're going to want to consult with people. You want to go to a trusted resource to just throw your ideas around with and make sure that it does make sense. The other square we have in this chart is Jupiter square Saturn. So you could see Jupiter here, and it's also squaring Saturn over here. So again, a square is 90 degrees from each other. You could see we've got this like square section right here. And Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance. And as I mentioned, Saturn is the planet of discipline. So with the tension here, we're going to feel like we're not that lucky. And we're going to lose our motivation and our ability to be as disciplined as we normally are. So you're going to feel a lack of initiative. Um, you might feel a little unsure about the future. So if you're like watching the news a lot and you are having this sense of loss of, luck and abundance, that's this energy right here that's affecting us. Um, so just, recognize that this is an energy that's happening right now, but everything's okay. They're not going to be in square forever. Everything is temporary. And like I said, without struggle, you can't have growth. So the way to combat or overcome these energies or these negative aspects is be more disciplined. Recognize like, oh, you know what? I know that this is not a really good time for discipline. So let me just really get sharp on that. Let's go to the gym every day. Let's eat a really healthy diet. It kind of makes sense. We got Christmas coming up. We got New Year's coming up. This is when we kind of let our inhibitions go. But this energy is telling us or reminding us, like, stay true and stay hard with discipline. It's also telling us to recognize that you are abundant. You have a lot. The universe is giving you all that you need because if you can cultivate a feeling of gratitude and appreciation, that's going to overshadow this feeling. Okay. Lastly, the last aspect we're going to talk about is the opposites or opposition. And this is challenging like a square, but they're exactly opposites to each other. So this is an aspect where the celestial objects are 180 degrees apart. And you could see that here by these red lines in the chart with the symbols a circle and a line and a circle. And like I said, it's challenging like a square, but it also seems to be like a mirror image to each other. It's meant to have the two energies reflect each other like a mirror. So when you have this mirror aspect, you have the ability to see multiple facets, or it's also the same way where the struggle of a square can lead to growth, the mirror of an opposition can lead to expansion of consciousness and recognition of the different facets of life. And in this chart, we have two opposites. We have Sun opposing Jupiter, and we have Mars opposing Venus. So with the Sun opposing Jupiter, Jupiter is the planet of success and good fortune. So, and the Sun is like the sign of self. So those two mirroring each other, it's going to feel like you're super lucky, or you're in a lucky streak, or you have a lot of good fortune, which sounds really good. The problem is with this mirroring aspect is that you're might have the tendency to get a little overconfident. So with that overconfidence can lead to the negative attributes of greed, envy, excessiveness, excessive pride, excessive boastfulness. Um, and ultimately, you're going to be left feeling unsatisfied from this energy if you don't, again, learn how to understand this energy and then reel it in. Um, if you can reel it in, this is also a really great time with this mirroring opposition to examine your behavior and your motives and to really understand, like, why is it you're doing what you're doing? Because that's going to give you the opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. The other opposition is the Venus opposing Mars, which is the last opposition that we are, or the last aspect that we're reviewing today in today's chart. And that is Venus being the planet of love. Um, it's going to create a little tension. Mars is not only the planet of action and courage, but aggression and like a quick temper. And with Venus being the planet of love in opposition of it, um, you may experience in your love life, like there's going to be irritability. Someone in the relationship could have be quick-tempered or be quick to anger during this time period. If you are single, it's also a time where you may be attracted to um, possibly a person who may not be the best for you because of this opposition. You may be attracted to someone who's aggressive, and that's not the best for anyone. So just be careful to, if someone comes into your life during this time period who is might sweep you off of your feet by being overly intense with you, recognize, like, make sure you take a step back and really assess the situation and make sure it's the right person for you. Um, because of this tension in the opposition in the marrying between Venus and Mars, it's going to generate a lot of this um, pent-up energy, and you're going to need a way to expel it. And this opposition calls to, like, you don't want to rush into expelling it in a intimate way. You want to then channel that energy, and this would be a great exercise to channel that energy into physical exercise, creative outlets, um, go out dancing, or go, try a new activity, hiking, a new yoga class or Zumba class, or go lift weights, something to expel this energy, and in order to um, basically transmute the energy of any aggression into a more positive experience. So that is aspects in a nutshell. I hope that helps to explain a little bit. It's interesting to look at the sky and see how these different aspects um, can create this narrative for what's going on in our own lives, but also in um, the external world, in our community, and the world at large. So I hope that this intrigues people to look at their transit charts to understand what the energies are going on in the world and learn more about it. If you look at the aspects itself, these lines that are shown in the center of the chart, you're going to see that some of these are making certain shapes. You know, this X right here, this kind of triangular shape going on here. And those also have meanings. So if you follow me or are, interested to learn more, I will be making a video talking about grand trines and the mystic rectangle and how the aspects of your transit chart can give you even more insight to not only your natal chart, but your transit chart. Then please like and subscribe um, so that you can get notified for my next video that will be talking about um, the aspects in further detail. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or you can email me at betweendimensions111@gmail.com. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Remember, it's the 1212 portal coming up this Thursday, so I'll be doing a video then on 1212 portal, what it means, the number 12, numerology in general, and it'll be a great video. So stay tuned. Love you guys. Mwah.